Tonight we're focusing in on Zoom with Galaxy AI on the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Ah, a baby tiger. Check out his claws as he prepares to pounce on that frog. Close one, but not as close as this Zoom. We can literally count the whiskers and... Oh look, Mum's here. Good thing I'm nowhere nearby. Go wild with Galaxy AI on the new S24 Ultra and zoom in on the epic day or night.
Get yours now at Samsung.com.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you would like to be on the program, although we're missing our call screener who should be here momentarily. Charlie is on vacation. So, Philip, you better be tuned in. Now, you know, the other day we were in the office and Philip's wall is on the other side of the studio, so he couldn't quite hear me, but he could still hear nonetheless. But now I'm in the actual studio, and I need to record something here. I told him to send something out, and now I'm going to tell him not to send that out, but send this out because the time has come. I need to do a special broadcast, which means I don't have fancy cameras or lights. I'm not in studio. I'm in the studio that has the TV equipment. I'm a laptop camera, but we got to have this conversation, conservatives. And I need to push this out to everyone. And so, Philip, you can use what I said to push out today, tomorrow, and this. I'm recording it, and you can push this out because it needs to be done. This is important. We must talk about chickens. But to talk about chickens, we have to talk about Newsmax. And to talk about Newsmax, we have to talk about James Gordon Meek. This is important. In October of 2022, the FBI showed up and raided the home of ABC News producer James Gordon Meek. James Gordon Meek had published reports at ABC and oversaw news that was critical of Joe Biden. And there were some who maintained he had conservative sensibilities. And in the middle of October 2022, numerous conservative social media stars, people with big Twitter platforms, began to tweet suggestions that something nefarious was happening. Pedro Gonzalez tweeted this: an investigative journalist has vanished after the FBI and people in unmarked federal vehicles raided his home. The United States is no less repressive than Russia or China. It just pretends to be a democracy, which makes it far worse. Pedro Gonzalez is one of those people allied with the white nationalists and pro-Russian sensibilities, things like that. Julie Kelly tweeted this: armed FBI agents in military-style vehicles conduct pre-dawn raid of journalists. Would have required approval of Deputy AG Lisa Monaco, Obama loyalist running DOJ. Then DOJ leaked details of investigation to reporters. The Rolling Stone article title: FBI raid star ABC News producer's home. Subtitle: Emmy-winning producer James Gordon Meek had his home raided by the FBI. His colleagues say they haven't seen him since. Well, guess what? The indictment has now been released. He is highly credibly accused of sending explicit messages to underage children and spreading child pornography. But people on the right, because they felt like he had some sensitivities to the right and had published stories critical of the Biden administration, they seized on that to suggest the Biden administration was no different than Russia and China. This guy had spread negative stories about him, and so they raided his home, just like they did to Trump. child pornography. Oh, the accusation's pretty credible there. And of course, there will be people today who suggest actually it's all a setup because he questioned Biden. You know the types. They'll question immediately. That gets me to Newsmax. Philip put up a clip from the show yesterday, put it on my Instagram feed, and I'm being overrun with people very angry with me over Newsmax because Ted Cruz, Lauren Boebert, and other members of Congress tell us, and Newsmax tells us, that DirecTV has taken Newsmax off DirecTV as censorship of conservatives. That's why they've taken DirecTV or Newsmax off. I've gotten emails from people upset with me thinking I have a responsibility. I have a microphone. I therefore have a responsibility, and I do. You see, unlike a lot of people, I actually take seriously that I will be called one day to account to my maker for the things I do and say. I may get into heaven, but there's still a level of accountability. And it pains me to know that there are a lot of people out there who that doesn't weigh on them like I think it probably should. Newsmax is not being taken off DirecTV because DirecTV is censoring conservatives. DirecTV is owned by AT&T, although they're spinning it off. AT&T is one of the few organizations out there that refuse to stop giving money to Republicans after January 6th. AT&T is one of the more conservative companies out there, and it's spinning off DirecTV because people are cord cutting. DirecTV is falling on hard times, and DirecTV can't give you internet like AT&T's phone lines can, and AT&T wants to divest itself of DirecTV. I am a DirecTV subscriber. DirecTV is getting rid of Newsmax because Newsmax was giving DirecTV free content. And if you're a cable provider, you want free content. And now Newsmax has decided to stop doing its free content. It thinks it's risen enough that it can now start charging people for the content. And it told DirecTV, you're going to have to pay a subscriber fee. You pay for the right to transmit Fox News. You now must pay for the right to transmit us. And DirecTV said, actually, we're going to go with the first. The first isn't going to charge us, and so we'll swap one conservative channel for another. And Newsmax marketing ploy is it's censorship of conservatives, and it's not. In full disclosure, they approached me about an advertising campaign on this program to promote where you can see Newsmax. I was happy to take their money, but was not happy to have them on my program to talk about how this was censorship of conservatives, and so I will not be taking their money after all. They wanted it done a certain way, and I don't believe it's true. So I am giving up money that I would otherwise be getting if I wanted to play along with the censorship game, and it's simply not true. It is not true when you actually read the wording of Newsmax, which they're loudly saying it's censorship, but if you pay careful attention to what they're actually saying, it's that they're getting rid of their free streaming platform. You're now going to have to pay. Everybody's going to have to pay. The DirecTV said, we're not going to pay the subscriber fee. They have this free platform, and you can go watch it there. You don't have to watch it here. And Newsmax says, no, we're getting rid of that. Everybody's going to have to pay now. They just wanted DirecTV to pay, not you to pay. DirecTV's not going to raise its rates for everyone by 50 cents just to cover the cost of their Newsmax channel when you could go to this other platform if you just want Newsmax. And DirecTV says the numbers don't warrant it. They don't have a massive base of people watching Newsmax on DirecTV. Therefore, it's not worth it to them. They've got a lot of people watching Fox. They'll give out this other. And the response is, but you give all this liberal content, you give MSNBC. People who don't understand the business can say dumb things like that sound smart, except MSNBC comes in a package from Comcast that has other channels as well, like CNBC, that people actually want to watch, and so MSNBC gets layered in, and MSNBC has more viewers than Newsmax anyway. You get CNN as part of a package with other channels from Warner Brothers Discovery. You get Fox News. Fox News is the most watched cable channel, so of course DirecTV is going to pay for it because people will cancel DirecTV in very large numbers if they ditch Fox News. Very few people, if any, will ditch DirecTV for telling you to go watch Newsmax online. That's the truth. That is the actual truth. I was willing to forego money in an ad campaign because I did not want to tell you something that was not true. I did not want to suggest to you something that was not true. And we talk all the time about the left and attacks on truth and how there should be objectivity. And all the conservatives are outraged by this guy in the Washington Post who said that objectivity is this white male thing. Well, it turns out a lot of people on my side don't want objectivity either. They don't want the truth. They want their spin on things too, which leads me to the chickens and the eggs. I got a text message yesterday from a listener, and I actually got the message after an encounter with my daughter, and the message was, what's actually going on with chickens out there? Tucker Carlson had something on it. There's a lot of buzz on the internet that chickens have stopped laying eggs. Before I even saw that, I got home and my daughter said at school today, have you heard about the chickens? That she has a teacher who has backyard chickens. The chickens stopped laying eggs. It appears to be a thing. There's this conspiracy out there that corporations, because they've killed so many chickens, just follow along the logic here, so many corporations killed chickens because of the bird flu. They don't like it that some people have backyard chickens where they can get eggs for free, so they put something in the feed so the chickens will stop laying eggs, so even those people have to go buy the exorbitantly priced eggs. That's one of many strains. There's another one that actually the government is encouraging companies to do this to starve people and create a humanitarian food crisis. All these sorts of things where if you just think about them a little bit, it sounds a little kooky, but there is a thing happening out there. Anecdotally, there's no data on it. There are several people with YouTube channels that pioneering types, the types they have plots in the back of their house where they have chickens and maybe goats or maybe a cow even, or they have a garden and they're survivalists now in this era where everybody got to take care of themselves. They've got their backyard garden, they've got their chickens, and a lot of chickens apparently have stopped laying eggs. But it's very random. I have a friend, my buddy Raz, only ginger worth trusting out there allegedly. My buddy Raz is one of those homesteader types. I mean, dude lives on this farm in Texas and kills the pigs in his backyard, and he's got chickens, and he came home to his chickens going gangbusters laying eggs. So it's anecdote, it's not data, but there appears to be something. But now people on the right are weaving this into conspiracy theories. There is apparently this cure, though, that is now available. Go buy goat feed and throw in some sunflower seeds in your chickens. They go gangbusters laying eggs again. But how are we supposed to know what's true now? See, this is the thing. Tucker Carlson blew this up, and I'm a little skeptical because, like, one of the things that he tied into this conspiracy in his monologue the other night was this General Mills factory set on fire in Georgia, but that's not really true. It was sadly a father and daughter took off from an airport in Covington, Georgia, and just after they took off had malfunction and the plane crashed in the parking lot. Didn't actually impact the building. Operations were not suspended except for a very short time. And when that's woven in, and it sounds like there are these attacks on these industries, there was a chicken processing facility or egg laying facility that burned down. They don't know why yet, but it's being woven into this ongoing conspiracy that there's an attack on food production in the country, when actually, if you know how many of these places catch fire every year, and when you actually look at the data, people are manufacturing things. It's like, have you seen the video of the people who they are all just dropping dead spontaneously? The soccer player, there was a comedian and others. And when you actually look at the stories of who it is, some of these videos are from years ago before COVID, but they're all being strung together as if they're current, and that it's probably myocarditis from the Pfizer vaccine, and it's simply not true. And this is where we're headed in very dangerous times now as a society, where there are kernels of truth around which whole stories are being woven. There appears to be a problem in this country right now with chickens, where in some parts of the country, unrelated to avian flu, chickens are no longer laying eggs. It appears to be anecdotal, though, because other people aren't having the problem with the same feed and people don't know. But you can't trust anybody anymore. And other people, for clout, for ratings, for building their platform, are weaving these things into elaborate stories. and picking and choosing things that don't go together and forcing them into a storyline where they don't meet. And it's so hard these days to figure out what actually is true. And when it becomes really hard to understand what is true, when it becomes hard to figure out the truth, it becomes easier to manipulate people because you put your trust in people. And those people can manipulate you. And I don't want to be accused of that. And I get blamed and blasted from my own side for not being willing to go down the road of some of these stories that then don't pan out. And now we've got this alarmism on the right about chickens in chicken coops. And is there a mass conspiracy? And I don't think there is. I think there's some problem, and nobody trusts the experts to tell them the truth anymore. And I would just tell everyone now, it seems very clear as a society, we have a gap of truth. We have a distrust of those people who should be willing to tell us the truth. And we have people who want to manipulate the truth for clout. And the moral of the story here is we got problems. They're not necessarily conspiratorial. Many of them are anecdotal. I'll try to get to the bottom of as many as I can. But when someone tells you something that checks everything in your box of paranoia and scratches every itch you have, maybe be a little more skeptical of even the people you put trust in to tell you the truth. Be skeptical of me too. Find it out for yourself. I just want to give you the information so you can make your own decision instead of leading you down a rabbit hole where too many people are going. And that's to the detriment of all of our society. The weather outside might be frightful, but in your bed, you've got super soft Boll and Branch sheets to sleep under. They'll keep you comfortable. They're just the perfect weight. Summer, winter, fall, spring, the perfect weight, and they get softer every wash. And right now, with the weather so cold outside, you want to just be snuggled up inside. They're the perfect sheets under which you and your loved one can snuggle. And right now, you can get 15% off your first set of sheets when you use promo code ERIC at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com. The promo code is ERIC, ERICK. Boll and Branch sheets are the perfect 100% organic cotton threads that get softer every wash. Not only do they get softer every wash, but the drape across your body is just perfect. I really enjoy mine. We've got them now on multiple beds in the house. We've just kept buying them because they're so soft. And every wash, they get softer. And right now, get 15% off your first set of sheets when you use promo code ERIC, ERICK, at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com. The promo code ERIC. Hello, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Phone lines are open. Operators are standing by. You got to get past the call screener, but we don't have Charlie. You know, Charlie told me I actually have to stop saying that because it discourages people from calling thinking that he's going to be such a jerk that they're not getting it through. But it's true. He's out. It's his wife's birthday, and so they're out of town, and he's very, very strict, and he's not there right now, so it improves your odds of getting through. But the best advice I think to this day that I ever got was from Rush when I started, that I needed a designated a-hole. And he's it. And he could be he actually chewed me out the other day about something. I'm like, why do I pay you to be like that to me? But it keeps me humble, keeps me focused. But same goes for y'all. When I get angry emails from people, and it happens every week, who didn't get on the show because he wouldn't let them on. They're very upset. They had a very good point, and you got to get past him. Bo Snerdley trained my call screener. And you just, if I have one regret, it's that we have so many lines. Rush, you'd call in and the lines would be busy. The dirty little secret is he had 3 lines. I got 7. It should make it more exclusive to be able to get on, but nonetheless, I digress. When we come back, I do want to move on to other things. I may have a little more to say on this. I'm happy to take your phone calls as well, 877-973-7425. But also, we got to talk about the season of departure at Team Biden. Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. I have extremely brilliant listeners. I need you to know that. This is a testimony to all of you. The phone number, if you want to be on the program, 877-973-7425. I got to read you some emails. One is chickens always decrease their egg laying in the winter due to the amount of sunlight, wrote one listener. What's so interesting is another listener wrote in and said, a lot of people are saying this is a seasonal issue, but it's not. Chickens lay eggs all year long. But hang on, there's more. Another one says, I figured it out. It's the green comet that's disrupting egg production. Another listener says, I know a guy whose brother's cousin's grandfather has been told by a good friend the chickens are not laying eggs because they gave the chickens the COVID vaccine. I've actually heard that one from a lot of people, that it's the RNA and the mRNA stuff. However, I was sent something that I think is credible by someone who actually is a food scientist who listens to the program, who is a professor at the University of Georgia and also has a lot of chickens. And he said he's been getting this from a lot of people because actually a lot of people have had their chickens stop laying eggs. Chickens normally do lay eggs all year long. And he says the answer is not a conspiracy. The answer is in the weather. That in the southeast United States in particular, there was a massive, massive cold front over Christmas. And he says chickens do not like to lay eggs when it is cold, and they do not like to lay eggs when it is very hot. And given the weather the South has had, which has been a lot of clouds and a lot of cold, that is a time that causes chicken egg production to decrease. And that when you actually get into January, headed into February, chickens notice the days getting longer and begin to resume their egg production. And historically, egg production is in the spring because for reasons no one can figure out, chickens like to lay their eggs the most when there are as many light hours as there are night hours. And in fact, some chicken production houses actually generate the bulk of their entire egg production from spring until the middle of summer when it starts to get hot, which is fascinating in and of itself, how the freshness of your eggs might relate to that. So that's it from someone who actually knows. He says that there's not some grand conspiracy here, that it actually is the weather. The major cold front that came through the South has decreased egg production. If you've got any outdoor eggs and you want to change it, you don't need to change their feed. Heat them up. Get them some light and get them heaters, and they will go back to egg production. Also, we should see egg production going back up because the South has started to warm back up. So there you go. That appears to be from someone who knows, has a PhD in the matter, and also raises chickens himself and experienced the same problem. Now, that being said, I also want to go to the phones here. Kelly, you're going to be up first. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Everything you just said is absolutely correct. For the average homeowner or small rancher, farmer that raises chickens knows that in the wintertime, as the temperature drops, the chickens still lay eggs, the production drops. So it's not about, no, chickens don't lay eggs anymore. It's colder temperatures. The chickens are reserving energy for their own bodies. So as the temperature warms, as you come to spring and summer, the chickens, traditionally lay more eggs. It is not some crazy conspiracy about the feed. This is something that has been going on for hundreds of years.
Well, so let me throw something else at you, Kelly, because here's my presumption as well. There are a lot of people in the last few years since COVID, they got chickens. They got chickens to start laying eggs. I myself have at least a dozen friends who now have chicken coops that didn't 4 years ago. And we've had some somewhat warm or mild winters. And all of a sudden in the South, we had that massive cold wave that came through around Christmas time. And that's about the time all the chickens stopped laying eggs. And this all appears to be, oh my gosh, me and my friend, and we're all on the Facebook message group together, and all of our chickens stopped laying eggs. And what could it be? And nobody thought the cold.
Well, maybe first off, they should get off Facebook and deal with facts that for hundreds of years, every year, and I'm not talking about the commercial farmer or chicken production plant. that has controlled temperatures, controlled lights. Because if you ever go to one of those chickens never touch the ground. They're sitting in a cage. They have light so many hours a day, dark so many hours. But if you go to the average person that has them at home, and what you talk about is free range. That's the normal person at home. They got a little pen. The chickens go out, roam around, eat the bugs and whatever. That is free range. And those chickens every year in the wintertime slow down production. They still lay, but come spring, summer, they lay more. It's just a fact.
Well, listen, honest to goodness,
I'm not trying to be mean to the other people, but this is how it really works in the real world.
I started this because I've got a listener who she's probably listening right now, and she emailed me this yesterday, and I did not see it. I actually fell out laughing because when I got home, my daughter, her art teacher, has chickens and asked if I knew about this. And then suddenly I get this email that says, I'm not sure if you'll take a request to start your show with a question, but I'm hearing this from a lot of people. And I was like, oh my gosh, 2 different people. And then I got online, and as I was doing it, my wife was watching Instagram, and one of the people that she watches, suddenly they're talking about it. I was like, this is clearly there's some anecdotal something, and I knew my listeners would know. And Kelly, you have taken care of it.
It's genetics.
Well,
it is genetics.
I appreciate
Thank you,
it
Eric.
a ton.
I listen to you every day. I love your show, but it's genetics, man.
Well, look, that's my problem with losing weight, too, is what I'm telling myself. So
there you go.
Thank
Me
you very
too.
much. Kelly, thank you. 877-973-7425. Y'all, I got to tell you, holding myself accountable here, I fell off the wagon. I lost about 20 pounds, and then I did the worst thing you can possibly do. I was using an app. I was counting all the macros and calories and everything. Lost 20 pounds, was very proud of myself. And I was like, you know what? I don't need this app anymore. I can do it. Well, I've kind of undone all the progress I made. Now I got to get back to it, holding myself accountable. Okay. You know what? Let me make one more point here. And I want to thank Kelly again for his phone call and all the people who emailed. This is part of the problem here that we're having in a post-COVID age is it's hard to know who you can believe these days. And people find people to put trust in. And we live in an age, and I am guilty of this. For a long time, I just thought getting the retweets mattered most. And getting the likes mattered most. And getting the quote tweets and all, just the metrics of social media mattered most, building my career. And the temptation is to just become a brain biblical donkey, if you get my meaning, because outrage sells and fear tactics and conspiracy theories sell. And it actually does appear there, anecdotally, on a massive scale, in parts of the country, chickens stopped laying eggs. And immediately people gravitate, well, it's the feed, and it's companies want to deny you your chickens because chicken egg prices are so high. They don't want you giving the eggs to your friends, and so they manipulate the feed to get your chicken. No, it's when you look at all the places where people are complaining about it, they had massive amounts of cold weather and lack of sunshine due to clouds, and that has impacted the production of chickens who will lay eggs during the wintertime. But when you're in the southeast and you're having the coldest winter you've had in several years, it affects it, and people manipulated that. But the left also does this, and it causes more skepticism. And we got to get back to the gas stoves. Yes, we have to go back to the gas stoves now. Because remember what happened. The Consumer Product Safety Commission said they were thinking of banning gas stoves. Richard Trumka said what cannot be made safe can be banned. And the right went apoplectic over it, and the left said, this is a culture war. You're bringing stoves into the culture war. This is all culture war stuff. We're not actually banning stoves, you crazy people. We're not doing it. This is from Bloomberg News today. Gas stoves are coming under fresh scrutiny as a second federal agency has now stepped into the political firestorm with proposals for new regulations. The Energy Department proposal published Wednesday sets first-of-their-kind limits on energy consumption for the gas stoves, drawing fear from the industry that regulation could effectively end the use of some products from the market. The proposal also sets energy usage standards for electric cooktops and new standards for both gas and electric ovens. The move comes just weeks after an official with the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission floated the idea of a ban, sparking criticism. Within days, the head of the commission clarified the agency had no plans for a ban, and the White House said it didn't support a ban. And now suddenly there are regulations, and the regulations come because of global warming concerns and climate warnings and emissions warmings. Natural gas stoves are used in about 40% of homes. They emit air pollutants. The Energy Department's proposal would reduce energy uses by about 30% relative to the least efficient products on the market. The proposed standards are based on improved cooking efficiency through the use of design options like optimized burners and improved grates. They want to drive up the cost. They want to drive up the burden. And they denied it. And this is over and over again the recurring pattern from the left. When I tell you this, you're going to suddenly realize that you've been seeing this for a while. What happens is the left floats an idea. The right goes nuts. The left denies that it ever even considered the idea that it floated and works behind the scenes to implement the idea while denying it. And then once the idea is implemented and they've been able to spread it and the right points out, see it happen, they say, well, it's always been happening, you bigot. Why are you a hater? Look at Drag Queen Story Hour. It's a perfect example. They denied it was ever a thing while complaining that the right was scaring people about something that wasn't a thing, while meanwhile an entire group of left-wing organizations are seeding Drag Queen Story Hour all over the nation, even in conservative places, and now they're just openly talking about it. When the right says, we thought you said it wasn't a thing, they're like, what's your problem, you bigot? They're doing it with gas stoves. They float the idea of banning gas stoves, and the right says, why are you banning gas stoves? This is an attack on the world. We're not banning gas stoves, you idiot. No one ever said that. Why are you dragging the gas stove into the culture war? And then the media is like, gas stoves, they actually really are harmful. They really are killing people. We really should do something, and the left does something. The right says, see, we told you we're doing it. And the left says, why do you want people to die from gas stoves that 40% of people use and aren't falling dead from, but they're killing people anyway? It's all part of the pattern. It's all part of the behavior. And you know what it does? It grows mistrust and misinformation and disinformation. It grows conspiracy theories. It undermines actual objective truth. And our society further erodes. That's why I'm glad to partner with groups like Patriot Mobile that actually are truth-focused and conservative-focused, and actually they really want to advance a conservative agenda. They want to do so truthfully. They want to do so forcefully. They want to push back on the wokes. Patriot Mobile takes a portion of their profits to grow the conservative movement. And to do that, they need you to do business with them. It's a cell phone company. All you do is you move your cell phone service to them. It's that easy. You call them at 972-PATRIOT. You get U.S.-based customer service. Move your business to them. Tell them I sent you. You get free activation. You move your business to them, and then they take a portion of their profits and fund the causes you care about. You can do it online as well. It's very easy. You go to patriotmobile.com/Eric, patriotmobile.com/ERICK. You get free activation with my name. If you don't believe me on their service coverage, go check them out. You put in your address, and it zooms down right to your house and shows you the power that they have there for 5G, data, voice, the strength of the cell service, all that. You get guaranteed great service. They use the same cell towers everybody else uses. And then they take a portion of their profits. They give it to conservative moms and dads running for school boards against the wokes. They give it to the Second Amendment causes. They give it to the pro-life movement. They fund the conservative movement with their profits, but they need you to take business to them to grow their profits, to grow the movement. All you do is go to patriotmobile.com/Eric, or you call them at 972-PATRIOT. Can I listen, this is shameless self-promotion, and I want to tell you about this, though. I send out every day right as the show starts, although we're late today, about 40 minutes later than the show started, and it just a lot of stuff going on. Philip, thankfully, can help me put this together every day. I send out my daily show notes right when the show starts. It is a pet peeve of mine that I feel like half the time I come on here, I got to push back against my own side's conspiracy theories to tell you the truth. It's infuriating to me, like the chicken stuff. I am not mad at my listener who asked me about it. She was really concerned about it. My daughter was concerned about it. My wife is watching people concerned about it. And I'm like, there's got to be a real story here. And it can't be this. I have a hard time believing the Biden administration is so anti-corporation that corporations would be feeding chickens stuff to keep them from laying eggs. There's got to be something. And you guys are smart enough, and we're able to figure this out. And it really does have to do with the major cold weather the Southeast had. And it frustrates me. And that's one reason I do the show notes, is because I want to send you the links to the stories and details about the actual news of the day without the bull nonsense that so many people are engaged in these days for clout and brand loyalty and stuff like that. So I do encourage you to text data to 33777. Subscribe to the email generally. I'm so worried about our side, because I've always felt like and believed that the right was really committed to actual truth. I mean, so many people on the right, whether you're a religious person or not, so many people on the right are religious people and ground themselves in this idea of an objective truth. It pains me to see so many people on the right not being more interested in seeding conspiracy theories to make the other side look bad than the truth. And I am getting my butt torn up by conservatives for telling the truth about this DirecTV Newsmax thing. And it is. And if you actually read the fine print of even Newsmax response, you see that it's DirecTV wasn't going to pay them. And that's actually what it is. All the other stuff is word salad static to obscure that fact. And if we can't be honest, it's like when the left calls everything racism. Everything is racism. If everything is racism, nothing is racism. If everything is cancel culture, nothing is cancel culture. If everything is censorship, nothing is censorship. People lose the ability to discern. People lose the ability to navigate. And people just tune out. And there are big issues out there that we, on our side in particular, have to focus on. Like, for example, the gas stove thing is a big topic. The gas stove thing is a big deal, no matter how much ridicule from the left about it. But when you're screaming about all this other stuff, the independents, the moderates, the skeptics, the people who might be persuaded to your side, they don't want to listen to you because you're a crazy person screaming about hysterical conspiracy theories that aren't true. And sometimes the conspiracy theory turns out to be true, but a lot of time it doesn't. And people just get whipped into a frenzy. That's my real concern here. It really, really is. Okay, we got to move on. When we come back, I will take your phone calls, but also I want to talk about the future of the GOP. And I want to wait a little bit because a Washington Post reporter is coming by to hang out with me in studio. And I want to open up the phones about the future of the GOP to all of you. I want to wait for him to get here, though. He was a little bit delayed getting into Atlanta with the weather. But we also, we got to take your phone calls and talk about the tech layoffs. They're going after the DEI folks first, and it's pretty funny.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.